Hi everyone, it's Elyse Doerflinger from Elyse's Genealogy blog, and today we're going to be talking about genealogy and money. This topic has really taken off in the social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter, and it's also really blown up in the Genia blogs. So I really wanted to take a moment to discuss and talk about my own opinions on this topic and kind of share my thoughts with you. So, first things first, realizing that everything has a price. I don't know what it is about the genealogy and family history community, but there are so many people that think that having access to these documents should be 100% free simply because they're public documents. Well, the bottom line is everything has a price. So whether you wanted to travel to said archive or library or courthouse and retrieve the document yourself, you have to figure in that's going to cost a flight or other transportation costs. You have food costs and you have, copying costs or camera costs because you're going to have to buy a camera or take a picture of it or a scanner or whatever. There's costs to that. You could also order the records yourself, either online and have it mailed to you, which is going to cost because you have to pay for search fees and postage. Or you can go my favorite route, which is to subscribe to one of the many big subscription websites. And really, the best one for you all depends on where your research focus is. Because the bottom line is, subscribing to one of those websites is so much cheaper than actually having to order each of the records yourself. And you have to remember, these big subscription websites, what you're actually paying for is the cost of them scanning and digitizing that record, indexing that record, and then creating a search engine so that you can easily search all the records that they've scanned and digitized and indexed. And all of that costs money. And that's not even factoring in the cost of having employees and a website and an office and going to conferences and advertising and everything else. So really, I understand that it sounds like a lot of money when you look at these subscription websites. It really does. And I totally get it because I'm a broke college student and, I'm on a budget and I can't always afford everything. But the bottom line is it is still so much cheaper and so much easier to go with a subscription site than to do it myself, that I would rather do the subscription site simply because I'm paying for the convenience. Now, that isn't to say that if someday, when I have a consistent career and more consistent a paycheck coming in more regularly and bigger, hopefully, that I wouldn't want to travel these places because it's an experience in and of itself and that's worth the price to me. But it's just not feasible for everyone to pull off. So, even free sites have a cost. There are so many people that say, well, wait, but then how are there free websites out there? Well, the bottom line is that these free sites need to pay for their bills one way or another, because gathering content and maintaining that website is never cheap. So, oftentimes, what these people will do is they'll get ads. And sometimes those ads are really intrusive, super in your face, hi, look at me, click on me right now. And sometimes they're really well placed, kind of hidden, and done in a very tasteful way. And if you find a website that has this free business model, you're going to have to ask yourself how they're going to sustain that long term. And this is really where it comes to sitting down with some of the higher ups in the company, if at all possible, and really learning more about them, because the smart ones will have a long-term plan and will be able to keep it going, because if not, you never know what could happen. It's always important to read those terms of service and all that stuff. So, next point, professionals have bills too. This is super important because so many people say that professional genealogists charge way too much money. And quite honestly, I don't always think that they charge enough. I mean, sometimes I think these genealogists, whether it be in, a speaker point of view or an archivist or a lecturer or a writer or, anything, whatever it may, or an actual researcher, whatever it may be, I often think that they undervalue themselves. And I'm not really sure where this idea came from, but it needs to stop. I mean, the bottom line is what you're paying for when you pay a professional is you're paying for their knowledge and skill. It's only fair to give them a fair price. Because the bottom line is it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to go out and learn a new skill and then stay current with that skill and understand how to apply that skill. So what you're doing is, once again, you're paying for the convenience of someone else to learn a skill and apply that skill rather than doing it yourself, which is always an option. So, what's the catch-22? Well, in the genealogy community, a lot of people are on a fixed income. So that means they can't dish out a lot of money regularly. And it can get really tough to maintain, a subscription site or to hire a professional genealogist. And there's also a lot of societies, and you look at it from a society point of view, if they're going to hire a, professional speaker to come in and do a talk, oftentimes these societies are barely hanging on financially as it is. And so at that point, it gets really complicated. So what can you do? Good news is that there are lots of low cost or free options out there. Things like public libraries that offer Ancestry.com for free. Family Search offers a ton of subscription websites for free at their centers. And, there's always options. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of negotiating and getting creative. And, sometimes you just can't afford that big name speaker. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes this is the opportunity for societies to take a chance on a new speaker who may be just as awesome but doesn't have the big name recognition yet to charge a big price. So, something else to consider. Here's something that I think. I think more websites should offer more pay-as-you-go options. Why? Well, Find My Past is already doing this, and I love that because even though I have English ancestry and I have Welsh ancestry, I'm not really researching them that often. Those lines are generally not where my focus is, at least not at the moment. And so having the pay-as-you-go option where I can buy credits and then do searches based on those credits is wonderful, because when I get the spark again to start researching them, I can just buy credits, research until I decide to move on to some other line, and it works out really well. It's also great for genealogists on a budget, which I think a lot of us are, and we have to be really picky and choosy about what we're going to pay for and where we're going to put our money. It's also really great for newbies who really aren't sure they're going to stick with genealogy, which is almost kind of a joke, because I think the bottom line is we all find genealogy addictive and very obsessive, and it's so easy to just get, so quickly caught up in doing research so fast. So, I really hope that more genealogy companies and websites consider using the pay-as-you-go option, because I just think that it's a very cost-effective way, and I think it's a win-win for both the company and the consumer. So, what are your thoughts? Go ahead and share them below in the comments. You can also send me an email if you want at genealogistelyse@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and visit my blog at www.elysesgenealogyblog.com. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks. Bye.